I would say that I am still relatively new to the Legend of Zelda series. I have played quite a few of the games for the first time in the past 3 years, but I still don't understand the lore 100%. I still don't understand the characters. I still don't get, like, I know I have to dwell deeper and go in deeper, but even when I do go in deep, I still don't understand things fully. But I think that's what's beautiful about this game, is that I can play so many of these games and still people in the comment section will be explaining, no, this is this, and this is what this means, and this is the, the significance of what she said, and it still amazes me. I was the kid who sat in the back when someone said, oh, I can't wait for the new Zelda game to come out. I was the one who was like, man, that series is so overrated. They just do the same thing over and over again. And people say that a lot. And the thing is, after playing all the new games, not all the new games for me, since they were new for me, like Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, the new one, Breath of the Wild. After playing all of those in succession, and not quick succession, after, over 3 years, I can safely say that these games are not the same. Like, there's so many things that people who complain about these games just don't actually notice, and it leads me to believe that the people who say that these games are overrated and, like, never change, that they never play these games. Because if you play Wind Waker and Twilight Princess one after the other, they're like two different games. Yeah, they have the same premise in a way, but they're like two different games mechanically, and even setting wise. If you go from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, it's like night and day. And that's why I wanted to think out loud today and talk about what I want for the next Legend of Zelda game. Which is probably going to be hard because I'm not going to do this with a script. I felt like if I did it with a script, it would have just not been my own words, and it would have just been this well thought out thing, and that's not what you want when you want to talk about your games. You want to be from the heart. Full disclosure, my favorite Legend of Zelda game would probably be either Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, with Breath of the Wild coming in after that. It changes from day to day, to be honest. Breath of the Wild might be my favorite tomorrow. It's such a good game. It really is a really, really good game. It's a great game. In fact, I would say, along with like maybe The Witcher 3, it's probably the best open world game that I've ever played. But the thoughts that have been consuming me over the past while are, can they do that again for the next game? It's with other open world games, they kind of add things over time, but with Breath of the Wild, they took all of, in my opinion, and don't kill me, all the nasty parts of other open world games and made them 100 times better. They took traveling and made it better. They took climbing and made it better. They took combat and made it better. They took, discovering the world and made it better. And I'm gonna get so much hate. I don't care. I don't care. That's how I see it. But again, I don't think that Zelda can do this again. I don't think Nintendo can do it again, or at least not in the same setting. They've really innovated each Zelda game, in my opinion, as time went on, and I don't know if I even want another open world game. If we get the second Breath of the Wild, does that water down the first one? If we, it'd be kind of like playing Twilight Princess and then a year later getting Twilight Princess 2. What if we get there is other ways you could do it. You could do an open world game where like it's actually set in the time, right, 100 years before Link was put into, 100 years before Breath of the Wild, where Link was just about to be put into sleep for 100 years. But to be honest, it doesn't make, we already know what happens. We're gonna know the ending. We're gonna know what happens. I think I want another game like Majora's Mask, and that's after playing Majora's Mask. I was one of the people that kind of, discounted Majora's Mask. I played Majora's Mask and said, man, the time constraints are not good for me. I think that this game is not as good as Ocarina of Time. I said all this stuff, and I was wrong. I can admit when I was wrong. It honestly is. It's one of the like weirdest and most wonderful games I've ever played. And also they have some of the best characters of any game that I've ever played. And I talk about Pamela a lot. If you don't know who Pamela is, look up Majora's Mask Pamela, and you'll find out very quickly who she is. I think a game like that would be really cool. A game that's not really fighting against Ganon, but fighting against a whole nother force. Maybe fighting against the sun might be cool, something like that. But I just want that type of game where the side quests are so good. Like, everything that you do on the side feels like you're doing a main quest. And while the side quests in other Zelda games are good, I just don't think that anything has really come close to how good Majora's Mask's side quests have been for their masks. I was told very early on to play Majora's Mask and do all the side quests because that's basically the game. And I didn't believe them at first. I was just going to do main quest, and it is so worth getting every single mask, every single thing, from alien invasions to horse races, from going into a milk bar at like 10 o'clock. It is so good, and I want that type of thing again. I want this closed experience. I don't want the time constraints so much, but I would love kind of a really close experience with this world that is kind of small, but still has, separate worlds. I want an overworld again. I'm not the best authority to be talking about this because I'm not actually, I'm not an expert on video game development. I'm not an expert on video game marketing. I'm not an expert on how well Majora's Mask did. All I can say is, what I think from the heart, and I would really like a game like Majora's Mask. I don't know if they are going to do a linear game again. I really don't. I think they look at Breath of the Wild and see that the development time paid off. They look at something like Breath of the Wild and say, yeah, this did good. This did good. This sold Switches in a lot of ways. Even though it was on the Wii U and it still sold Switches. People were like, no, I want to play it on the Switch. I don't. It's really hard to predict what Nintendo's gonna do. It's hard to predict what Nintendo will ever do. Like, Nintendo's the type of company that will drop, like in their Nintendo Directs, they drop like 10 new games and go, and now let's move on. And when you're like, no, I wanted to see that. What was that? Like, you're fucking just dropping games. I think though that the next Zelda game will come a lot sooner, if that's any indication of how I feel. I don't think we're going to be waiting the same amount of time that we did for Breath of the Wild, and I think we're going to know for sure what the next direction of the next Zelda game is going to be after the DLC. Could they just make Breath of the Wild 2? I think it'd be cool. Maybe, that's the thing, at the end of the DLC we could find that there's like a cliffhanger. We don't know yet. My stance is that you can do open world again if the setting is different and if, maybe the story is different. But like after playing, I know like everyone's like, Calvin, that's old news, that's like 17 years old. I love Majora's Mask. It feels like I played a new game this year, and I want to play another game like that. And I know it's not gonna be exactly like that, but I want a game that's like weird, wacky. Maybe they use the same assets as Breath of the Wild. Maybe they use the same world as Breath of the Wild, just make it into like something different, like Majora's Mask did. I don't know. That's kind of what I want from the next game. Linear, but not so linear. What do you guys think? This is a weird video. It's a very weird video. I actually had a scare with my capture card, and I was like, man, this is the time right now to do this video that I've been wanting to do, and I don't know if it's any way worth it, or my opinion's any way worth it. I just think that that's what I would want next. What I think is going to happen next, I think is probably going to be another open world game. It's probably going to surpass this one again. They seem to know what their fans want now, and the open world setting was really, really good. I just think it'd be cool to see what they could do with the Breath of the Wild assets in like a smaller world, because whoa, that game is pretty. Every time I play that game, it's really pretty. Alright guys, see you soon. Tell me what you think. What do you think the next Zelda game is going to be? Tell me what you think the next Zelda game is going to be and what you want the next Zelda game to be. I'll see you very soon.